Hi, welcome to economics. This is Unit 1 title page, and what I want to talk about today is how we are going to kind of focus you and what are the main topics. What do we want to learn and walk away from with Unit 1? So there's this overarching question up here, but actually I want to start with the diagram. And one of the key elements of Unit 1 is scarcity. Scarcity is a term that means there's basically not enough to go around. So whether it's time, money, food, wheat, what have you, there's not enough to go around. So it basically scarcity forces choices by what we call the three economic actors, which are individuals or households, businesses, and we're going to do away with the word firm, businesses, and then society and governments. So when we look at these three economic actors, individual households are you and your family and your individual household, what you guys consume in your home or what you consume as a person. Secondly is businesses. Businesses require a lot of goods to actually do business depending on what they are. An ice cream store needs, of course, ice cream and scoops and water and paper towel and cones and labor and all these things. So it is actually things consumed by a business. Third is societies and government. Now, the American government is part of our society, but not all of it. If you think about the things that mean to be an American and the things that are involved in being American, all the things in our culture, not all of them have to do with government. There's a lot of things outside of that. So a society is actually the whole American culture, and then the U.S. government would be the American government aspect. So back to this. Scarcity forces choices by the economic actors, households, businesses, and society, which seek, right here, increased productivity and efficiency. So productivity and efficiency are fairly close terms to each other. Basically what it means is to do the best that you possibly can at a job. So by being productive, we use our time and resources wisely. Efficiency is a term which means to do things as quickly as you possibly can with the least amount of effort and expenditure of resources. So let's use the example of man hours, and we're going to talk about General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler. So rather than build cars by hand, which would take a lot of man hours, and they don't have the money to pay that, it forces choices by them to build cars by assembly line rather than by hand. So there have been cars, and there still are cars today, which are built by hand, very few, but it's very labor intensive and takes a long time, and they tend to be much more expensive. So what the automotive companies did, starting with Henry Ford, was create an assembly line where each person does one part or a small part, like putting a wheel on, installing the transmission, what have you, and as the car goes, it is built as it proceeds through the process. And so we use the least amount of workers to make as many cars as we can, as fast as we can, and with a high quality. So therefore, scarcity, the lack of money to pay millions of people to work, forces choices by GM to make cars in an assembly line fashion, which makes them both efficiently and cheaply, and passes the savings on to us as customers. So when we look at this, we can think about any choice that we have. So you have homework this evening. You also have a sports practice. So let's say you have volleyball practice. So scarcity forces you to choose basically what time you're going to practice and then what time you're going to do your homework. So you practice from 4 to 6 o'clock. You get home, you eat dinner from 6 to 6:30. From 6:30 to 8, you do your homework, and then you watch TV for an hour and pet your dog, and then that's your evening. So it actually forces you into a mode of figuring out how you're going to do things. Let's take a look at the overarching question up here. This is the main question for the unit, and it is basically what we've been discussing. How does scarcity impact the decisions of individuals, businesses, and societies must make? So how does scarcity impact these things? So therefore, let me pin this. We must take a look at the focus questions. And these are 3 things that we are going to look at as we go through the unit. And I'll clear off these highlights. There we go. So you can see clearly. Now, how does scarcity impact the decisions of individuals and societies must make? And it's basically a repeat of the overarching question. So basically when we look at this unit, we're talking about a couple key elements here. The same words keep popping up over and over and over. That is scarcity, decisions, and you can even see the word impact keeps popping up. What roles do individuals and businesses play in an economic system? So we're going to talk about economic systems, and that is things like capitalism, communism, and socialism. What roles do we as citizens and actors play in that, and what role do businesses play? And it varies from system to system. And then lastly, how do you evaluate that system? Basically, how happy are you in that system? How do you know you're happy? How do people feel about socialisms, communisms, and capitalisms? So as we look at this, that is the main thrust of this unit. This diagram will tell us a lot, and we can always refer back to it. Thank you, and have a nice day.